Hey all, my name is Stella Vaka and I'm the CEO and one of the three co-founders of Silkroad Studios. I wanted to take the chance to kind of share a little bit of our journey building the company, starting from a point of crisis for the whole world from the pandemic, and share where we at right now and a bit of our learnings. The team is 14 people spread throughout Europe, and we're working on our first game, which is Yokai Tales Fox, a third-person action RPG blending sports mechanics with stylish combat. A little bit about me. I come from Greece. I moved here in Denmark 6 years ago in 2018, along with Maximus, our game director and second co-founder, to initially work in the industry here. We met Mia, our third co-founder, and in 2019 we kind of decided that we wanted to work on our own game. So yeah, to build a company together. We delayed a bit because there was no need to do all the paperwork and go through the whole process until we got our first soft grant in 2021, where we couldn't delay it any longer, so we legally founded the company. I have a design background myself. I wasn't at all a business developer. I worked as a UX designer. I taught UX and service design, and my education is in product design actually. But yeah, someone's gotta do it. So what I wanted to talk about today was a bit of our journey. I have found that for me, it really helped when I listened to others. It shaped my perception of what a gaming company is and what a path in that direction would look like, especially in the early stages where the imposter syndrome was through the roof. So I hope my experience will do the same to anyone who has an interest to this kind of thing. This talk is mostly geared towards young developers who are either in the early stages of building their companies or aspire to kind of start that process. And maybe for some more seasoned people in the industry who would like to get another take on how a gaming company starts in 2024 from the team who is kind of new to the industry. Maybe make some struggles a bit more visible. So I will touch on a little bit of the most important aspects and milestones that we went through as a company, and and give an idea about what our experience looked like. That could be setting up a new kind of company during the pandemic, in times where remote working was not something very mainstream, building a team under those circumstances and managing an ambitious project as a first-time company, and going forward some of the insights or learnings that we got from pitching the company in the game to publishers and investors, and in general to being in the industry for the last 5 years. So everything started from the game. Back then we called it Project Foxtail, now Yokai Tales Fox. Was inspired by my favorite games and movies. I have Legend of Zelda here and Elden Ring, but back then it was more Golden Sun and Fire Emblem, like old JRPGs. We wanted to make a game taken out of World of Studio Ghibli with a focus on player freedom and deep action gameplay. We really wanted that adventure Indiana Jones experience where you do cool moves and you discover secrets, and this exhilarating feeling of getting lost in this world. Of course everything started from the game director. Yeah the project was initially his master thesis, and the bare bones form of it was a kitsune, a fox spirit, doing cool flips and fighting bad guys. He has also a background in extreme sports, parkour, martial arts, so he was very deep in that world. So that way we had our core. It was very solid. Both me and Mia saw a bit of ourselves in that world, so we decided to kind of work on it. And Mia wanted to flesh out the world musically, to build up that fantasy, and I really love the whole idea that Maximus and Mia built up in my head, so I wanted to make that feasible. And that's why we made the company. We made our initial game design document and started prototyping while we were looking for funding to hire a programmer, because none of us knew how to program at the time. At that stage, it was very fortunate that we had moved to Denmark, because there are government funds here that fund parts of game development. So that's how we could afford to hire a programmer. So we kept our expenses to a minimum, and we had our first team member, and that was back in 2021. But getting that funding meant that we needed to legally fund the company and start seriously working on business development. So I took on the role of CEO. I think my natural anxiety has vastly contributed to that, and my stress of doing things properly. Of course, there's no such thing in game development. Yeah, but I had to give it a try. For me, it was important to ensure that everyone in the team had all the necessary tools to succeed. Finding funding, of course, but also having a smooth production, making sure we were making the right creative decisions based on team competencies and the market, as well as finding expert help when needed. I practiced pitching from the moment we had the concept for the game and the main character art. You can see that the initial main character. So I put them in one pager and started attending local pitching events. It was very fun. Not only we're making a game, but I started showing it to people, which made me feel amazing. Slowly you realize that pitching is like any other skill. You need to practice with real people and adjust your strategy on the spot from their response. I am definitely not a born salesperson, but I still saw great improvement throughout the years. I realized that my informal style really helped to pitches in person and building relationships. My goal in these events as I went on was less about presenting the business case and more about making a genuine human connection. Those relationships can go a long way, especially for a team who is growing and learning. We had many chances to pitch to the same people afterwards, but we benefited from the feedback time and time again. They never closed their door on us. That was very valuable. As we also kept finding the fun in the game, the production plan grew along with it. We tested out various methodologies and tools, from agile and lean, until we found our current team, and we ended up with a somewhat combination of the two. Theory was all good, and it gives you the unnecessary tools, but it all comes down to the team and the actual people that you're working with. And that brings us to the second point, which is building up the team. As we started in the pandemic, it was unavoidable to work from home. This was both a curse and a blessing. We didn't have the obligation to provide an office for the team, which gave us the resources to actually invest on our people more and push development. But we had to account for the restrictions that remote work brings, such as team motivation and personal relationships, in order to work well together. Working with different people from various backgrounds, we had to adjust our production to be flexible to how each person likes to work. We mixed agile and lean, and for example, most of our R&D team preferred using Scrum and more structured ways of milestone planning, while our art team was more comfortable in using Kanban and lean methodologies, especially when we were working with people from other time zones. Although as we went on, it became very clear that we should keep a limit to the difference in time zone that we addressed. It was harder and harder to work together as a team as we went on. But of course, that's depended on the role of the person. The more management the role, the less of the time difference you could have. Um, Remote work enabled us to find people from all over the place, and the pool was huge, and we managed to find people that fit our culture and aligned professionally and creatively with our goals. That was amazing. We managed to avoid issues with recruitment, as all three of us we participated in the recruitment process, and we kind of complemented each other in our interpersonal skills. So it really helped when we talked to the candidates separately to really understand them as people, understand their skill sets, the way of working, and finally, see if they fit in the team or not. Um, yeah. Um, yeah. As we built a team with the project we really wanted to make, over time, we were able to more accurately project our production, what it would look like, what it would cost, finalize our positioning in the market, and start pitching to publishers and investors with actual numbers and now more seriously. But 2023 was a tough year to pitch a new game and a new company. We had already made some connections from pitching early, and in the local scene in the Nordics. Having friends is really important, and if you want to go far, never underestimate the power of an ecosystem. We had some introductions, we found some people ourselves, but our timing was super bad. Very soon after Gamescom 23, the layoffs started, full force, and all publishers went silent. Even though we had some progress with and we had some deals on the table. We had put so much effort into making our demo, the way that we have investigated that everyone needed, but still nothing happened. The best response that we got was some very nice actionable feedback, but the only thing was to be done was to get back to work. So that's what we did. We kept pitching throughout 24 as well. We refined the game, learned to lean even more on our team's strengths. We ditched all features that slowed us down, worked on accessibility a little bit more. We became aware, for example, on some issues on our onboarding, which is very important for publishers because they need to be able to play and reach the core game experience. We cut down our scope and budget to reflect the risk of the industry and started also putting some effort into marketing, although none of us had any background in that. We got some influencers on board for feedback and support. They have been invaluable. So we talked with players, did focus groups, started some social media very slowly, but we got some help, especially for regions in Asia, and we got some very nice traction there. So that also really picked up our motivation. As developers, we kept working, we felt stronger and stronger, but we kept hitting walls with publishers. Our stress piled up, and at some point we reached out to some friends who have been in the industry for many years, and they made us realize something, which was actually really important. We were trying to solve the wrong problem. If all that we needed from publishers was money, it wouldn't be worth the terms that they would give us. So during the time in our company, we kept learning, and although in the beginning self-publishing seemed impossible, right now it seemed manageable. So it was less of a mountain to climb. So we decided to self-publish and look for funding separately. I can't tell you how much better we all felt after we made that decision. Before that, we relied a lot mentally on what publishers would say and what they told us on their process and their strategy. And, as young developers, of course, we had a lot of doubt as we started up, and that led to so much anxiety. We realized quite recently, actually, and that's so stupid to admit, that most of the times we talked with publishers, they seemed very diplomatic and that they were always negotiating the business case. And it makes sense. From their side, they need to think about their portfolio strategy and the audience that they have built so far with the other games that they have published. And that's why they have all these processes in place, like pipelines. But the lack of transparency of all the things that as a developer you cannot control really contributed to our decisions to self-publish. Also, there were some of the publishers that requested changes of us to fit in that portfolio strategy, and if we hadn't had, our eyes fixed on the target audience that we want to focus on, then we would have been lost in making arbitrary demos and features for the variety of publishers without a guarantee of a contract. And this was not the relationship that we were looking for. We were looking for a partner, someone to grow with, but this is not, the kind of publishers we talked with in the end. So, this is where we are right now. We still have ways to go until we release our game, but we have learned so much already from our journey. Like everything else, building a business takes a lot of effort, requires practice and perseverance. You need to get out there and try your hardest. No one teaches you these things. No book can teach you how to pitch. You can, of course, take notes, but then you have to do it yourself. Calculate your risks and hope for the best. One way is to start early, before you need it, and develop your confidence and your interpersonal skills. You will need it, and you will thank yourself that when you're looking for funding, you will have one challenge down, one less demon to fight. Always remember that publishers are not your players. Listen to their feedback. They are knowledgeable people. They know their market. They know games, but stick to your audience. And if you can't find anyone to give you money or, to support you in, just make it yourself. Just be scrappy. Try to make the smallest thing possible and just give it to your players. Because it's also time we realize that marketing is part of game development. Understanding who our players are is very important. And if you put the effort for them, they will support you, they will give you feedback, and they will raise you up. Above all else, maintain your mental health. I'm not saying don't crunch. There are times that you will have to do that. And it is pointless to stress over it. Just, to go with the flow, take it easy, do your work at your own pace, and hold on to your vision. Like, what's the point if you're not making something that you love? If you have any questions, please reach me in one of those things. I think I will be online in the Discord server for questions. Otherwise, you can just reach me on my personal Discord, email. That's about it for me. I hope that was helpful, and at least one person took something out of it. But if not, it was very nice talking to all of you, and hopefully someday in person as well. Bye bye.